Hello, welcome back. My name's Chris, and I am the Railroad Reseller. Today, I'm going to go over things you need to avoid when you go out to yard sales. It's getting to be yard sale season. I've already went to a few yard sales. So I'm putting this guide out here to help you stay away from certain things. I always find the first part of the year I really make my worst decisions with yard sales. You kind of get desperate. There's only a few out there, and you make some bad decisions, and you learn from those decisions. That's what I'm giving you today. Now, some of you are going to disagree with my list. That's fine. You have that right to disagree. By all means, put what you think are bad things to buy at yard sales below in the comments. One thing good to buy at yard sales is lemonade and cookies from the little kids. That's a good thing to buy. But these are 8 things you need to avoid to find. I'm going to give you 4 of them. We'll go over some what sold, and I'll give you the last 4. First of all is NASCAR items. NASCAR items, for the most part, you stay away from, especially the small die cast, the stuff that looks like Hot Wheels, Matchbox, all that. Stay away from that stuff. It was way mass produced. There's not hardly any of that stuff that's worth anything. The little trinket stuff, the shot glasses, all kinds of stuff. NASCAR as a whole, for the most part, unless it's a big die cast that were limited or something like that, you know, stay away from it. NASCAR is not a good thing. NASCAR is a dying sport, unfortunately. They made too many rules. They made too many of the vehicles alike, and the viewership is way down from what it used to be. Uh, Next of all, gonna get some people aggravated here, but board games. Because most time when I go out and see board games, I see the same board games every time. Okay. And most time they're overpriced and there's just not that high desire for them. And I have parted games out before, okay, and try to sell them by parts, and it still takes an extremely long time here, okay. Unless you're at the end of the day and you haven't done well and you don't have nothing, stay away from the board games, okay. You don't need 37 copies of Life or Monopoly or Scramble or whatever, okay. Stay away from board games, okay? Unless you see something weird, unique, you know, not necessarily good. Costume jewelry is next. Okay, costume jewelry, also once again, mass produced. The stuff is cheap. And the only thing I will say right now with gold at say $3,000, jewelry is really kind of unaffordable right now for a lot of people. So there may be a little market for custom jewelry. So once again, any of these categories really fall into that. If you find a big old box full and somebody will say $5 for the whole box, probably still buy it. But just realize most of it you're going to be, part of what the time you're going to sort through, to get the good out, the bad and the good out, is going to be part of what you're paying for, okay? So I'd stay away from costume jewelry. And finally, the random box of sports cards. Okay. We still, a lot of us people my age, oh yeah, sports cards is great or something like that. Or they'll see some random video of a Tom Glavine PSA 10 for $2,000. And they're like, there's that Tom Glavine card that guy had. The odds of you getting a PSA 10 Tom Glavine card are about as good as a scratch off lottery ticket, okay? Go buy the scratch off lottery ticket and do something to help the education program or something like that. Because your random sports cards, you might as well light a match to them and burn them up or give them to some little kid. Show you some what sold, and we're going to get back to this list. All right, let's go over some things that sold. Sold a Stone Cold Steve Austin 316 hat. This is new with tags from the Attitude Area. Yes, this hat is 25 years old. So held out for my price. I got lots of offers for $35, even a couple offers for $40. I got $51 plus shipping on the Stone Cold Steve Austin hats. Sold the Chronicles of Riddick. This is something I picked up at a estate sale Friday, and it sold Sunday night. Got $26 plus shipping. This was a $1 buy. Resold, if you watched another video, the KFC uniform. It's extra large. It got returned, said it didn't fit, but they had to pay shipping both ways, so that's on them. Anyway, we sold it again, $10 plus shipping. So every time you do that, you make a little on shipping. So it is what it is. I don't even take it out of the package. I'll repack it and it'll go out the door. Sold this Soups Worldwide 2XL, kind of a crazy shirt. Friend gave this to me. He said, "Is there any way you can make anything out of this?" I said, "Yeah." Got like jazz looking stuff going on. I don't know if you can see that. Anyway, $11 and something plus shipping off a free item. Bought a lot of books off of Facebook Marketplace. They were Navy style books. Paid $5 for the whole lot. Sold this one for $22 plus shipping. The cutting edge. So that was good. I already got my money and then some. So all the rest of the box is profit. I did go ahead and chuck quite a few of them because about half to 75% weren't worth fooling with. So they went to the recycle bin. Sold this Detroit Lions shirt 2XL. If you watch my Bristol video, I went sourcing in Bristol. And this was one of the items I got. I think I paid $3.99, $21 plus shipping on the Detroit Lions. And finally, we got a hoodie here, full zip, nice Under Armour hoodie. We got $18.88 plus shipping on the Under Armour hoodie. All right, let's continue this list of things you shouldn't buy at a yard sale. Let's start off with these type of glasses. They came from Hardee's, McDonald's, whatever your local restaurants were in the 70s and 80s. And even as cute as these little guys are, now this one probably is one of the better ones because believe it or not, I do have some nice stuff in my store not closed. These still aren't worth a really whole lot of money. Plus, they're not worth the risk involved with all that. Most people had all this stuff, especially the Garfield glasses and stuff like that. People have that stuff. Leave it alone. It's breakable. It's not worth a lot of money. And most time at yard sales, people think it's worth big money, so they'll charge you like they'll have $5 on this glass, and it'll sit there all day, and they're like, "How did I not get my $5 on that glass because I thought it was worth something?" It's not worth a lot. It's not worth your time. Stay away from Hardee's glasses, McDonald's glasses. You understand. Next thing we need to stay away from is 80s magazines. You know, the National Geographic and all that stuff. And I don't know, almost anything 80s magazine, except probably Nintendo Power. I can only think really Nintendo Power as about the only non 80s magazine to, stay away from. Otherwise, stay away from 80s magazines. They were highly produced. There was no Google. There was nothing. They were every stinking where. I mean, every convenience store had 80s magazines, okay? Also, along those same exact lines as 80s magazines would be 80s comics, okay? So you say to me, "Chris, what or how can I identify an 80s comic?" Okay, generally they cost at least $1 per issue back in the 80s, okay? So anything, if you pick up a comic immediately, you see $1, $1.25, most likely that is from, I guess, the Bronze Age or something like that. I'm not a comic expert by no means, and I don't pretend to be one. But anyway, just stay away from them. Anything, if you don't see something like 10 cents on a comic or something, the original cost of it, 10, 12 cents, stay away from it. Don't pull your time. It's just a waste of your time, okay? Don't buy these in lots. Leave them alone. Now, Another thing to stay away from is large collections of VHS and DVDs. Buying the whole collection, okay? There's about 100% chance that if you buy a whole collection that you are just getting junk and stuff that will take you hours and hours to sort with. Now I know you're gonna say, Chris, I seen you went through last year, you sold quite a bit of VHS out of a lot. Yes, I didn't pay anything for that lot. It was literally less than 5 miles from my house, and I still had to sort through probably at least 5 or 6 hours through all that VHS to get rid of the junk. And so, get the good stuff to make the money. So that's where I made, spent my invested mine was the time involved to actually sort through it. I wouldn't have really wanted to pay more than 10 or $15 for the whole lot. But you say, Chris, you made hundreds, probably a couple $100 or so. It's because the time invested to go through and sort and make sure everything was good and what was worth something and what was. You just don't want to buy that. And a lot of times when you go to yard sales, the large collection of VHS, it's just a bunch of Disney stuff, folks. And you are not going to be the one that gets that $5,000 black Disney because it doesn't exist, okay? I mean, they blow that out of your water. It doesn't exist. But Chris, I see it in the solds. It doesn't exist. It's not, it isn't out there. Stop wasting your time. Large collections of VHS and DVDs. If you really want to sort through and go through, have at it. I do it sometimes. I'm guilty as charged on that sometimes. I generally look for certain things to key me off, though. I look for odd, weird stuff. If I just see your generic, run of the mill, enemy of the state, die hard type DVDs, VHS, I just move on. I don't have time for that. But if I see obscure, weird stuff, then I start looking. Also, concerts and stuff like that, live VHS, DVDs have some value to them. And finally, the last thing is modern Hot Wheels cars. Okay, you'll either see them one of two ways. First of all, either see the guy that, like myself, that, still wants to hold on to part of their childhood. So they go out and start collecting Hot Wheels again. And, it's cool. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. Well, they end up with a bunch of duds, and they realize, well, this stuff's not going to go up as I originally thought it was. And so they put their stuff out there in the yard sale, and they expect to at least get what they originally paid for it. So you're just getting their duds, okay? So stay away from that. And also the second thing is like some kid's child collection, and there's not going to be anything of value. They beat them up. I used to take decent care of my toys for the most part outside of my Hot Wheels. I beat them up, and I did stuff, and I had a friend at the end, once they got to a certain kind of thing, we stuck a firecracker and blew them up. And that's, we even went as far to bury them at times, So stay away from modern Hot Wheels. If you can tell for some reason that they're older Hot Wheels and that they don't have a bad price on them, you might want to buy that collection. But otherwise, stay away from modern Hot Wheels. I hope this list has helped you. I hope that you find great stuff at yard sales this year. If you like this type of content, please hit the subscribe button, as I can greatly see this channel. I like to see this channel grow. Have a great week. Take care.